On the 161st episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about some MLB news with some huge winning and losing streaks going on. The NFL is back and having some record-breaking contracts, and then we have some WNBA controversy. Make sure you use code HatTrick Sports when checking out at w.gg for 10% off your order. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. We are here from an episode 161 of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. We're going to start off in Major League Baseball. It is Sunday, so we have the Dodger game on down right here. They're about to get 1, 2, 3. We're going to talk about the Dodgers here in a second. But first, I want to talk about the MVP race. More specifically, the National League MVP race. Pete Crow Armstrong versus Shohei Ohtani. Who do you think should win the MVP? Now, here are both cases. So, the Cubs and the Dodgers were playing each other in a series this last week. They had 3 games in Wrigley. And this was in the mix of the Dodgers' 7-game losing streak. But Ohtani hit a leadoff bomb. Then PCA hit a bomb, and in one single game, each of them, Ohtani and PCA, hit a home run each. Now, obviously, the Cubs fans were chanting MVP for PCA between the 2 home runs, but I don't think Pete Crow Armstrong should win the MVP over Shohei Ohtani. Now, right now, their stats, actually, I have them more updated right here. Right now, Shohei Ohtani has a 6.3 wins above replacement. Pete Crow Armstrong has a 7.4 home runs. Shohei, they both have 26. They both have 71 RBIs. Pete Crow Armstrong has 30 stolen bases. Shohei only has 6. Batting average. Shohei Ohtani has a 294 batting average at the time of this recording. PCA has a 287. Same thing with on-base percentage, same thing with slugging, and then obviously OPS and OPS+. Shohei Ohtani leads Pete Crow Armstrong in batting average, on-base percentage, slugging, OPS, OPS+, home runs, and RBIs they're tied at. Pete Crow Armstrong leads in WAR, which is a valid point. Games, plate appearances, and hits are completely irrelevant when you have batting average. And then, like I said, they're both tied in home runs and RBIs, and then PCA wins the stolen bases. So, the main thing that Pete Crow Armstrong has that Shohei doesn't is the wins above replacement. But then when you're talking about each individual team, obviously Shohei Ohtani's is going to be down a little bit because he plays for the Dodgers. And also, on top of all of that, Pete Crow Armstrong is incredibly defensive. He's the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion. But Shohei Ohtani pitches. Right now, Shohei Ohtani is at a 1.79 ERA. He pitched in 14 games and has, like I said, a 6.3 WAR. Shohei Ohtani was putting up Cy Young numbers before he got injured. Now, right now, he's on a break from pitching. He had his knee was bothering him and his bicep and elbow. He's just had so many problems with the pitching, so they just shut it down. So he can't win Cy Young anymore. But he was putting up Cy Young numbers before he got hurt. And now you're saying that Pete Crow Armstrong should win the MVP? No, Pete Crow Armstrong doesn't have an earned run average because he doesn't pitch. Now, sure, is he great defensively? Yes, but I'd rather take Shohei Ohtani than PCA, and I think pretty much everybody in the world would rather have Shohei Ohtani on their team than Pete Crow Armstrong when Shohei's healthy, or what he's done this year so far, if that's what you're basing MVP on. So PCA also leads the entire league in fielding run value at 24 and outs above average 22. That's another part of the defense. Like, Pete Crow Armstrong is the best defensive guy in the league. Shohei has won 4 of the last 5 MVPs. He won with the Dodgers the last 2 years, and then the 2 other years he won with the Angels. I say he should win this year, especially if he keeps doing what he's doing. And yeah, it's very, very hard to convince me that Pete Crow Armstrong should win over Shohei Ohtani. And you could go back to the very beginning of this podcast, episode 1, episode 2, all the way up till episode 10. I glazed Shohei Ohtani, and that's when he was even with Anaheim, when he was with the Angels, as opposed to with the Dodgers. Like, I'm not just saying that because he's a Dodger. Like, I truly do think Shohei Ohtani is a better baseball player this season than Pete Crow Armstrong, and a lot of it is because of pitching. Now, if you take the pitching out of it, then yes, PCA is there. I think PCA would win MVP. But the thing is, Shohei Ohtani pitched a 1.79 ERA, putting up Cy Young numbers before he got injured. Shohei Ohtani should be the MVP, and it shouldn't be a debate. It shouldn't be a debate. I feel like people are just saying that because they're mad at the Dodgers right now because there's going to be a lockout. But, yeah. It really should not be close. Let's talk about the winning streak, the Red Sox. The Red Sox, man, they are on fire the last month. They were on a 15-game winning streak earlier this season, which was tying a record back in the 1940s. And then on July 2nd, that streak was snapped, but then Boston immediately went back on another winning streak that just snapped. They won 9 straight games before losing to the A's just on Saturday last night. This would have been the first time in the entire franchise's 126 years that they had 2 winning streaks of 10-plus games in the same season, but they ended up losing the 10th game against the A's. Incredible, man. Right now, the Red Sox are 27-3 since July 3rd. They've only lost 3 games in the last month. They went from struggling, losing team to now they're going to try to fight for the division. It is incredible what the Red Sox have done in the last month. You've seen the viral clips going around of the Boston guy basically trashing on the Red Sox, which is completely valid because they were horrible. And all of a sudden, this last month, they picked it up. This month is going down in the history books in Boston. So that's the winning streak, but there was also a pretty important losing streak that happened in Major League Baseball this last week. The Dodgers had a 7-game losing streak. Ugh, it hurts saying that, especially since they just got Tarek Skubal, and everybody's complaining about the Dodgers for spending so much, and it's going to cause a lockout at the end of this season, or I should say the beginning of next season. But that's more towards the point of the Players Association. Like, hey, this salary cap, sure, the Dodgers are spending $400 million, but they could still lose 7 games in a row when you're facing the average team like the Diamondbacks, the Cubs, teams like that. So that is a strong point that the PA is going to have to make, and hopefully they can make that. But, yeah, just last night, last Saturday is when they finally won a game. The Dodgers finally won a game. They won 2-1 over the Diamondbacks in the 10th inning. It went into extra innings, which the Dodgers don't do that often. And it looks like the Dodgers just got a... That was not a double play. It should have been. Mookie Betts, I don't know what happened there. Did he trip on the bag? I don't know what happened there. Sorry for you guys, the listening viewers. Sorry, one second. As I was saying, the Dodgers won last night 2-1 and went into 10 innings. Kyle Tucker with the go-ahead home run in the 8th inning, his 11th home run of the season. And it's one of the best moments that he has had since signing the 4-year, $240 million deal this offseason, because it allowed the Dodgers not only to be winning, but to ultimately allow him to go into the 10th inning and win the game. Edwin Diaz, bro. 2 triples to make it go into extras. He gave up the home run. He gave up a walk-off home run the night before for the 6th loss, and then, for the 7th loss, and then for this last game, the game that they ended up winning, 2 triples in a row to tie it up and allow the game going into extra innings. Even though in this game where the Dodgers won, Yamamoto had to face Fott. Fott is like one of the best pitchers in the league right now. At the beginning of the season, nobody knew who he was. He was going in and out of the minor leagues, trying to find a spot in the Diamondbacks rotation. Now, I'm not going to say he's fighting for the Cy Young Award, but he's up there. He's top 5, top 10 pitchers in the league right now. His name's Fott, Brandon Fott. Keep an eye on him. He's going to be really good. He has been really good, but him and Yamamoto face it out in the game where the Dodgers ended up finally winning. Yamamoto went 5 2/3, 6 strikeouts. Fott went 7 innings, giving up just 2 hits, 1.32 ERA in his last 8 starts. It was wild. Arizona didn't help themselves either. I'll talk about it here in a second again, but 15 guys left on base. You don't want that. You don't like 15 guys left on base for Arizona. And then also, in the 10th inning to allow the Dodgers to win, Kyle Tucker's at second in the extra innings because of the dumb rule of in extra innings, there's a guy automatically put on second. Dumbest rule ever in Major League Baseball. That's dumb. But yeah, a pass ball allowed Kyle Tucker to go to third. And then some error by the first baseman. They had him out. but Kyle Tucker scored. They ended up winning the game. And, hopefully they go on a little bit of a winning streak because they have some catching up to do. Now, I'm going to look at standings because the Dodgers are still first in their division. They're still comfortably first in their division. They're 8.5 games up. They were 14.5 games up before this. But, they do need to start catching up a little bit more because we got to start preparing for postseason and playoffs and stuff. But with that being said, Blake Snell is set to return on Tuesday. He has not pitched so far. Sorry, he pitched. He's had one start this season, and then he had the shoulder fatigue at the start of the season, and then the elbow surgery to remove the loose bodies in his elbow. But he should be officially back on Tuesday, the day after Skubal's Dodger Stadium debut. Oh, Tarek Skubal. LA's gotta love Skubal. But we're talking about Blake Snell here. 32 regular season starts over the last 3 years combined. But he was big in last year's playoffs. He hasn't pitched a whole lot regular season for the Dodgers, but last year playoffs, 41 strikeouts, 3.1 ERA. He had 34 postseason innings. Like I said, Dodger home debut for Tarek Skubal is going to be on Monday against the Royals, and then Blake Snell will face the Royals on Tuesday. So that should be a good matchup. Nobody has scouting on either guy, at least from recently. So that's big. That is big. And Skubal's first start for the Dodgers, they ended up getting the loss, but Skubal didn't do too bad. 6 innings, 2 runs. They lost 5-1 against the Cubs. It was in the middle of that losing streak. And he's nervous, He's not used to not wearing Detroit across his chest. But when the Dodgers full rotation when healthy, it should be Skubal, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Snell, and Glasnow. And if they're all healthy, Glasnow was put on the 60-day IL, but he was supposed to be reinstated July 6th or something. Yeah, his earliest return was July 6th, but we haven't had an update. So I'm hoping Glasnow's doing okay. Ohtani, obviously not pitching like I talked about earlier. He resumed throwing. He was shut down from throwing for 2 weeks, but he's optimistic. He thinks that he can pitch before the season ends. I would like to see that. I would like to see him practicing and closed doors, no scouting or nothing from other teams until the playoffs. So he's still warm and stuff, but I want to go into the playoffs without teams having a scouting report on the Dodgers. That's always super big. Now sure, we're in Major League Baseball. Scouts are going to find a way to look at their opponents and stuff. But I would like to see Ohtani come back, especially for the postseason. Nasty rotation if he can come back. Here's an interesting headline. Jefry Yan, he's the guy in spring training this year who went viral for his strikeout celebration. After every single strikeout, he jumps up, does some sort of split on the grounds. Whatever. A lot of former MLB players and MLB fans are I'm not a fan of it, this, that, the other. Grow a pair. It's not that deep. I promise you, it's not that deep. If he wants to do it, let him do it. It's not helping him, if I'm being completely honest. And I think if, this is a very big if, but if he wants to have a Hall of Fame career, he's not going to be able to do this. Because there's going to be a time where there's going to be a strike him out, throw him out. He's going to get domed in the head by jumping up, celebrating a strikeout. So, and is he really going to do that 3,000 times if he wants to have a Hall of Fame career? I don't know. It's his thing. I haven't talked to him. I'm sure it's just a superstition kind of thing, but maybe cut that out. Maybe don't. I honestly don't care. If he's doing that against the Dodgers, whatever. You struck a Dodger out, you should be able to celebrate. If a guy's allowed to flip a bat, you should be allowed to do that. Do I think it's a little much? Yes. Do I care, or am I going to think about it twice? Probably not. I think the guys that are really mad about it and don't think that it's classy, whatever, it's a game. It's a literal child's game. Grow up. Let's talk about the MLB standings here. If you guys are watching on TikTok Live, make sure to follow if you have not already. PCA, now shut up. Yeah, Tomas. I don't know if Jordan's still on here. Let me take a screenshot of that. Diamondbacks. What if you guys are listening to the podcast? Make sure to follow us on TikTok. You can join during the When I film, usually I film on Sundays, especially starting now. Going to be filming on Sundays a lot more. Diamondbacks going to win the West. That is the same guy who said that Scuba wasn't going to get traded. But in the NL East, you have the Braves up 9 games against the Phillies. Phillies not doing bad. They're 62-56, but the Braves are 71-47. The Mets, the team with the highest payroll in the MLB, just hit 50 wins. They're 51-67, 20 games back in the NL East. Let me say that again. The team with the highest payroll in the MLB is 20 games back, just 118 games into the season. Unbelievable. National League Central, the NL Central, the Cubs are behind the Brewers by 5.5 games. Every division in the NL is actually pretty good, actually really good, with the exception of certain teams. But like the leaders in each division, actually really good. The Braves, let's talk about the Braves. The Brewers 5.5 games up, and then the Cubs. There's nobody in between the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 15 games back, 9.5 games back from the Cubs. That division's locked up. It's going to be Brewers and Cubs. Cubs are going to make it to the postseason. PCA, calm down a little bit, buddy. I appreciate the greatness. I appreciate the goods, but I can't have people thinking that PCA should win MVP over Shohei Ohtani. In the NL West, you have the Dodgers. Like I said, they're up 8.5 games. It used to be 14.5, but they went on the 7-game losing streak. They hit 70 wins last night, so they have officially 70 wins, which is good. But you would think that the team that has lost 7 straight games would be way below 70 wins into the season so far, but they're not. Padres and Diamondbacks keep fighting. Those two are going to have to really fight. They're going to fight for a wild card spot. I would like to see them fight all the way till the end of the season. I think that the Diamondbacks, especially with how Fott's doing, is going to take it away from the Padres, which I would love to see because I absolutely hate the Madres, as I like to call them. But then other than that, the Giants 21 games back, the Rockies 24 games back. Not even really close there. In the AL, you have the Rays. They're up 5 games against the Yankees. The Yankees and Red Sox. The Red Sox, with how they've been doing this last month, like I said, they are 27-3. They could catch up to the Yankees. The Yankees not making the postseason, if the Red Sox can catch up to the Yankees and the Yankees don't make the postseason, that'd be the equivalent of the Chiefs not making the postseason last year. That would be phenomenal. I would love to see that. In the AL Central, the White Sox. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that the White Sox would be in the lead of the AL Central and only have 60 wins, 116 games into the season, bam. I would not have believed you, but you have the Twins, Guardians, and Tigers all right there within 3.5 games of them. It's anybody's division, except for the Royals. It's not the Royals division. In the AL West, man, these two, the AL Central and the AL West, they just make me mad how bad they are. The Astros, everybody was worried about the Astros. I told you, it was Mother's Day this year just so I can clip it at the end of the season. Everybody was like, the Astros aren't making it to the postseason, this, that, the other. They are now leading the division. They are 60-58. Their winning percentage, 508, and they are leading a division. It makes me mad. If the Astros, who are 508, were in the Dodgers division, they would be 4th. They would be 4th in the division. It's just unbelievable. Same thing with the AL Central. Second place, the Twins. They're under 500, second in their division. It's horrible. And still, somehow, the Angels are 14.5 games back. It's absolutely nuts. But instead of staying mad about baseball, let's talk about the NFL. The NFL is officially back. They had the Hall of Fame game where the Cardinals faced off against the Panthers. Where did I have the schedule up here somewhere? No, there it is. So the Panthers ended up beating the Cardinals. It doesn't matter. The Hall of Fame game means absolutely nothing. Nobody that played in this game is going to play in the regular season. But the Panthers ended up winning to a score of 33-30. Do you think the over-under was 63.5? I would have definitely picked the under. But, oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm sick or something. Today has just not been fun. But yeah, the first quarter was pretty slow. And then in the second quarter, they each scored, I don't know if I'm getting sick or what, but second quarter, they each scored a couple touchdowns and a field goal, so they were tied 17-17 at the half. In the third quarter, the Cardinals scored a field goal, and in the fourth quarter, the Panthers, let me tell you what the Panthers did. They had a touchdown, then the Cardinals had a field goal, so the score was 24-23, actually a pretty good game, 10 minutes left into the game, and then the the Panthers extended their lead with the field goal. They were up 27-23, and then the Cardinals scored a touchdown with less than 2 minutes left, 27-30 Cardinals, and then the Panthers with no time left ended up scoring a touchdown, winning 33-30. It was a great game. Not a good defensive game at all. The defense should be ashamed of themselves. I get it; it's preseason, but you have something to fight for. You have to try to get a spot in the whatever it's called in the NFL, the roster, the starting. It's not the starting lineup, but you got to find a way to make the team. And the defense on both of these teams, I mean, right now it does not look like they're going to find a spot on the defense for each of these teams. And you look at the stats, total yards, the Cardinals have 425 total yards, the Panthers 378. Yards per play, I mean, you're looking at 5.6, 6.5. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I'm sick or what. This is horrible. But yeah, the schedule for this next week is we have football every Thursday for a while. Yeah, so this upcoming Thursday, we have 5 games. And then Friday, we have 3 games. Then Saturday, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 games on Saturday. It's all preseason, but this is exciting. Football is finally back. We have preseason week 3. There's a whole bunch of games. When does the regular season start? Yeah, the regular season starts here in a month. A month from the time of this recording, regular season starts with the Patriots playing the Seahawks, a little Super Bowl matchup. I don't think this is going to be a very good game. I am a Seahawks fan. I don't think the Seahawks are going to do nearly as well as they did last year. I think it was like a one-year kind of wonder, bringing back the Legion of Boom. But man, I would love to see the Seahawks started off with a dub. It's on what is September 9th? Oh, it doesn't tell me what day of the week it is. It's at 8:20. September 9th, 2026. It's a Wednesday. I don't love that's Wednesday. But it is a Wednesday. Let me pull it back up here. But yeah, and then Thursday, you have the Thursday night game, and then the regular season starts. There's it goes. We're going to be talking a lot more about the NFL here in the next month. But I'm excited. Fantasy's coming up, and this should be fun. This should be really fun. This should be really good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's going to take it all this year, because I don't think it's going to be the Seahawks or Patriots. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win it all this year. But we had some extensions going on this week. Jonathan Taylor signed a 2-year, $44 million extension with the Colts. The maximum value can go up to $47 million, and $39 million of that is guaranteed. It is the third largest deal for a running back in NFL history. It was signed 2 days after Bijan's record-breaking extension, and the running back market is like on fire right now. I don't know what it is. But now Jonathan Taylor is under contract through 2028. He did lead the NFL last season in rushing attempts and rushing touchdowns with over 1,500 yards, 46 catches, 378 yards. And then since 2020, when he entered the league, he is second in the league in rushing yards and scrimmage touchdowns, with only Derrick Henry has more in both of those categories. So he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and that is the second all-time in Colts rushing history. Yeah, and he was Jonathan Taylor was also talking about the running back. 1 second, where am I going with this? Yeah, running back market. Yeah, he was talking about the market. He was saying that the Cardinals drafted Jeremiah. He made a good point. The Cardinals drafted Jeremiah Love 3rd overall this year, which is the highest running back pick since Saquon Barkley in 2018. So that does bring up a point. Like, our running backs becoming more, like, they're going to have more of a financial advantage. Is that the word? More of an impact on each team, and I think so, because Jahmyr Gibbs also signed a 3-year, $67.5 million extension with the Lions, which is the highest paid running back in NFL history. And the max value can go up to $75.75 million, $51.5 million of that is guaranteed. That is a $22.5 million AAV, which beats out Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon. There were just 3 massive running back deals this week. It was wild. It was just out of nowhere. And, yeah, the position's getting paid again. I don't know what happened, but it's definitely getting their payday now. Right now, Jahmyr Gibbs has 49 career touchdowns through 3 seasons. It's the most in NFL history through year 3, which passes Barry Sanders, who had 47. He has 3,500 rushing yards years 1 through 3, 22nd most in NFL history since stats were first recorded in 1932. And then last season, he recorded 1,223 rushing yards, 616 receiving yards, 18 touchdowns, 77 catches, and this was while he was splitting snaps with David Montgomery. Like, he didn't have the whole season to himself. Montgomery ended up traded to the Texans in March, so now Gibbs is the lead running back for the Lions. But that's huge. Gibbs is only 24 years old, and that he doesn't think he's in his prime yet. He said his prime is still yet to come. Last year, the Lions finished 9-8 and missed the playoffs. They hired the new offensive coordinator inside Pacheco to replace Montgomery. We'll see how the Lions do this year. I feel like they have a decent shot at. I think they'll make the playoffs. We'll see how good they really are. Their schedule, they start off week 1 playing the Saints, and then where do they go from there? Then they play the Bills. That's going to be a harder game for them. Then they play the Jets. Should be an easy win. Then they play the Panthers. Should be an easy win. They have a pretty easy schedule, at least for the first few games. I'm just looking at the schedule really quick. Then they play the Cardinals. Should be pretty easy. Then they play... Do they have a bye week 6? They might have a bye week 6. Then they play the Packers. They have a pretty easy first half schedule. I'm not going to lie about that. But yeah, good for Jahmyr Gibbs. Good for the Lions. I'd like to see the Lions make a run for it this year. And then also, I didn't even think about that. We got NFL Pick'ems coming up. That's one of my favorite series that I do every year. Just every week, just name off Pick'ems. It takes time from the podcast. I actually love that. That's one of my favorite all-time segments. Let's go on. Since we're talking about the highest paid running backs, let's talk about the highest paid NFL QBs of all time. This is just in guaranteed money. Let me go down here. At number 5, you have Patrick Mahomes. He is guaranteed $208.1 million in the contract that he has signed right now. At number 4, you have Joe Burrow for the Bengals. He is guaranteed $219 million under his contract. That is wild. He was just at LSU a few years ago, and now he's making almost a $250 million in guaranteed money. At number 3, making podium, you have Dak Prescott at $229 million guaranteed money straight to the bank. For America's team, man. The Cowboys, I don't know how they can afford that. Jerry Jones, I mean, that's how. But, yeah. But just $1 million more than him, you have Deshaun Watson for the Browns. The fact that the Browns is guaranteeing Deshaun Watson $230 million is beyond me. But the number 1 highest total guaranteed money in a contract for a QB in the NFL. This contract was signed in March 2025. The contract ends in 2031. It is Josh Allen making $250 million guaranteed money, and that can go up. That is a wild, absurd amount of money. I know the Dodger fan that's wearing an Ohtani jersey is saying that, but that is still crazy for a quarterback. But yeah, let's talk about the WNBA. A little controversy in the WNBA. Who doesn't like some controversy in the most controversial league in the entire world? Enes Kanter. Oh, sorry. I mispronounced his name. Enes Kanter Freedom. He changed his last name to Freedom. He announced that he is declaring for the 2027 WNBA draft. And you might be saying, Isaiah, what you just said, he is declaring for the He is declaring for the WNBA draft. Yes, that is right. He is arguing that the league's inclusion framework makes him eligible, which it is. So basically, from an unbiased, as a guy who does not care one bit from his standpoint, me, the WNBA doesn't define what a girl is. And everybody wants to make this political for some reason. But his argument is, if simply declaring who you are is all that is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement. So yeah, he's full of controversy though. Like he's a political activist, influencer, whatever you want to call him now. He used to play for the Senate. Who did he used to play for? He used to play in the NBA years ago, but is now, I guess, gonna try WNBA. Royce White, who is also a former NBA first round pick and current. I don't even know if I should say that. Royce White is also a former NBA first-round pick, and right now he is a Republican senator candidate in Minnesota. He's following his own declaration saying that he identifies as a woman sometimes. He says that he only identifies as a woman for the purpose for professional basketball. I mean, are we serious, guys? Like, let's be for real. He said that he's unstoppable and threatened legal action if denied entry. The WNBA's CBA, collective bargaining agreement, which is a huge thing in MLB right now, explicitly states only women are eligible, but does not define biological sex or include hormone level requirements, which is the gap they're exploiting. This all started with Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham made some comments about trans athletes, whatever. But the declaration alone doesn't put either player in the draft pool. They still have to satisfy formal eligibility requirements. The WNBA commissioner sent a memo to teams, like every WNBA team, confirming to review transgender player policies. And the WNBA Players Association responded saying that we will not be used as political pawns, which I kind of agree with that. Like, can we just, like, girls play WNBA? Like, Just let them play. I feel like there's never an article written about the WNBA that's about basketball. Does anybody else feel like that? I feel like there's never a headline for the WNBA that's about basketball ever. Again, this all kind of started with Sophie Cunningham. She made some comments about transgender participation in women's sports, and which sparked this whole debate. And now we have, I mean, literal guys running for Senate that are trying to make a point by going into the WNBA. Like, it's not this story that, like, makes me mad. It's the fact that the WNBA, which has the potential to being a halfway decent league, if they really tried, they could be a halfway decent league. If you find some, maybe girls that are better at basketball. I mean, I'll admit, the girls aren't great at basketball. I'm not saying I can beat them. I can't make a 3-point to save my life. But, I mean, that along with the media, like every single headline for the WNBA, there's no basketball in it at all. Or it's all negative. It's all negative media. It's all negative media in sports in general. I mean, I'm somewhat guilty of it, not too much, but like it's just all negative media in the WNBA, and it's hardly ever about basketball. It's just crazy to me that this is like a real headline and that there are real guys like trying to make this point. It's like, let's just play the game. Let them play their game. And the WNBA doesn't help with this either. They have regular season games on 1 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. Like, nobody's going to watch that. I feel like they're digging a hole for themselves. And I watch WNBA a couple times a week. I mean, I could name you most teams. I can't even name you every team. I know quite a bit of players. I know stats. I know who's good and who's not. Very much a casual WNBA fan in quotations. I want this league to work out. They are not helping themselves. The negative media is not helping them out. And these idiots just aren't helping them out. This is just absurd, man. I feel like this whole headline is just absurd. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not. If I offend you, I don't mean to. I know nothing about this. I'm completely unbiased about all of this. It seems so unnecessary. Does it not? I don't know. But that is going to do it for the 161st episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Thank you all for listening. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Go to shophattricksports.com to get the best merch around. You can listen to this podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube for all the visuals, anywhere. Listen to it. We'll see you guys next week for episode 162.